Vance is already weighing in with a message, and I'm quoting him now. Everyone's saying this was illegal. He says Maduro can't avoid justice for drug trafficking here just because he lives in Caracas. CNN's White House reporter Elena Treen is joining me now. She's here with me in the Situation Room. You just learned some new information about when planning for this operation actually got underway.
Yeah, so according to some of my sources, as well as those of Kylie Atwoods and Kevin Liptax, we were told that the preparations for this operation actually began back in mid-December. And I'd note that we knew that the president had been looking at potential plans to strike land inside Venezuela, as well as to try and oust Maduro. But up until that point, they had left, Wolf, this idea of potential diplomacy open, of trying to get Maduro to step down voluntarily. We know that Trump and Maduro had spoken on the phone earlier, just a couple weeks ago. But when that changed, and when they believed that he was unlikely to do that, these plans began really to take effect. Now, what we're looking at is really what's going to happen next. And according to some of the sources I spoke with, they said that some of the draft plans and some of these preparations that they were working on back in mid-December looked at setting up a transition government inside Venezuela with some Venezuelan leaders to help, fill the power vacuum should Maduro be ousted from power, and then potentially see if they can get elections, see what happens to have elections moving forward. One thing that Trump said that kind of backs some of this up during that interview with Fox, he said that we're making that decision now regarding next steps. And he said, quote, "We can't take a chance of letting somebody else run it and just take over what he left off." So it's clear that what they don't want to see is not only Maduro, but one of Maduro's, officials, one of, the vice president, for example, having one of those people take over and continue kind of the Maduro government form of leadership inside. And so that's going to be a huge question for what comes next, because ever since they began really closely looking at Venezuela and how they wanted to operate with these strikes, of course, but now with this idea of what would happen if Maduro was ousted, who would fill that power vacuum. They'd been working on these day after plans for a while, but what was clear is they want a different type of leadership structure there. And the White House has said now publicly for weeks that they believe Maduro was an illegitimate leader, that he and his government did not have the right to be leading the country. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how they move forward with this.
And we know that the Attorney General reminded all of us that Maduro was actually charged in the Southern District of New York with narco-terrorism.